Hi everyone, my name is Marley and welcome to my channel, or welcome back. So today I'm going to be filming my TBR for June, and I'm really excited because I actually plan on reading a lot of really fun sounding books. There's actually 11 books that I have planned to read, which would be more than any month so far this year. So I'm kind of being ambitious this month, but there is a read along that I want to take part in because it's been a little while since I did a read along. So yeah, let's just hop into the books and I will tell you about each of them. So let's just start off with the readathon and get that out of the way. The readathon is Romance-A-Thon 2021. I heard about this from Haley Hughes. I know she is co-hosting, and then there's some other hosts. So I'll put some links in the description to the hosts or to their like Storygraph page where they explain everything about the readathon, but basically the point of it is to read romance books, which if you know me and my channel, I'm not the biggest romance person, but I just wanted to take part anyways and try out some different romances that I do think I'll like. Check out my reading popular romance books if you want to see kind of what type of romance books I like and what I don't like. But anyways, I'm gonna go through the prompts and let you know what books I plan on reading for those prompts. So the first prompt is to read a book with a cover you really like. So for this one, I'm gonna go with Take a Hint, Danny Brown by Talia Hibbert. I really like this trend of covers that's going on in publishing right now for mostly like adult romances or YA romances, contemporaries, where it's like the cartoon like drawings on the cover, you know what I mean? Like this one, I just think they're really cute. Yeah, I like the aesthetic of like the Brown sister covers. Even though I didn't love Get a Life Chloe Brown, I've just been hearing that Danny Brown is the way better book, and people who didn't like Chloe Brown liked Danny Brown. So I have high hopes for this one. I just hope it's not too steamy for me because I'm not a huge fan of like the steamy scenes constantly. If you guys don't know what this is about, I guess you have not been on booktube, but it follows Danny Brown, who I think is not really into having a relationship right now because she's very like career driven, which we love that. And then there's Zaf, and I think something happens like where he saves her or something like that, which ends up in the press and people think that they're dating, and so then they decide to fake date in order to, I think, help out Zaf's charity that he works for and like get publicity for it. So it's like a fake dating thing, and then obviously they will fall in love. The second prompt is to read a book written by a BIPOC author, which if you don't know what that means, it means Black, Indigenous, person of color. Talia Hibbert is a Black woman, so I'm gonna count Take a Hint, Danny Brown for that prompt as well. For prompt 3, it is to read a book that is out of your comfort zone, which honestly kind of all romance is, but for this I'm gonna go with The Guy on the Right by Kate Stewart. This is out of my comfort zone because it is a independently published romance book, which I don't think I've read any independently published romance books besides Colleen Hoover. I know some of hers are traditionally published and some aren't, so I don't know which of hers are which, but I have read all of her books. But it's still like out of my comfort zone. This is one that I heard Chandler Ainsley talk about a while ago, so I had it on my TBR, but then Kirsten over at Kirsten's Corner actually read it recently and she was raving about it, and that really convinced me that I need to read it soon. So apparently this is the first book in some sort of series, so not sure if I'm going to continue it. We'll see if I like it or not. From what I understand about this, it is some sort of like underdog story. The series is called The Underdogs, which if you know me, like I always root for the underdogs in like everything, including love triangles. So I think this book has like a love triangle, and there's a clear like leader, like athlete, typical like jock guy you'd think would get the girls, and then there's like an underdog character. Don't really know too much more than that, honestly. And I actually really like the cover of this book as well because the whole like reference to like Tinder and like dating apps, I kind of like that because I used to use dating apps. I don't know, I kind of like that. So then it works out that prompt number 4 is to read an indie romance, which The Guy on the Right is, so there you go. Number 5 is to read a backlist title from your favorite romance author. For this, I struggled with because I don't have a favorite romance author because I don't really read them. I really enjoyed Beach Read, but Emily Henry does not have very many like backlisted books to pick from. Colleen Hoover actually would be my favorite author, my favorite romance author, but I've read all her books. So what I ended up doing is I think I'm going to read Heartstopper by Alice Oseman. I really enjoyed Loveless by Alice Oseman that I read last year, so I guess she could be considered a favorite author. Heartstopper is a backlisted title from her, so I'm going to be reading that graphic novel. I think I'm just gonna try out reading it online first because I know you can find it online for free. I think I'm gonna read the first volume, see how it goes, and then maybe read the rest of the volumes. All I know is that it's an LGBT story about, I think their names are Nick and Charlie. I don't know. I see it everywhere, but I think it's just kind of like a first love story of these two boys in high school and sort of them falling in love and maybe like what struggles they deal with. Yeah, excited because it sounds really cute. Prompt number 6 is read a book from a new to you author. So I'm gonna say The Guy on the Right by Kate Stewart will count for that one as well because I have not read any Kate Stewart. Then prompt number 7 is to read a romance book with a hate to love trope, which honestly love that trope and everyone's loving it right now. And this is probably the book I am most excited for, and that is Shipped by Angie Hockman. Probably most people have heard of this one too, but I'm really excited because they say it's similar to The Hating Game mixed with The Unhoneymooners. I didn't love The Hating Game, but I loved The Unhoneymooners, which I probably could have picked a Christina Lauren backlisted book for that prompt. That wanted a backlist book, but whatever. So this is about these two people who are up for the same promotion at this cruise line company, I believe. I think they're both in like the marketing department, and they have to both come up with a proposal, and whoever has the best one will win the new position. That's why it's similar to The Hating Game, but then in the meantime they have to go on this cruise trip together or something, I think, to get inspired for their proposal. So that's the part that's like The Unhoneymooners, because they're on this trip together and it's like forced proximity, even though they like are pitted against each other and kind of don't like each other at the beginning. Obviously they are gonna change their minds and they are gonna fall in love. So I'm so excited for this one. So it's a hate to love romance, obviously. All right, now for the rest of my TBR. First of all, we have Written in the Stars by Alexandria Belfleur. So I'm reading this for a secret TBR. It is a female-female romance. It seems like it is also a fake dating romance. The two girls get set up on a date that doesn't go very well, but the one girl wants her brother to get off her back about finding someone to date, so she gets the other girl to just pretend to date her. So that sounds really fun, and I know one of them is really into astrology, which so am I. If you've taken a peek at my channel, I've made some videos regarding astrology, so I'm really excited for that aspect as well. So the next book that I want to read is A Boyfriend Material by Alexis Hall, and looking at this description, it literally sounds like multiple other books that I've talked about already, but that's what happens, I guess, when you're reading like so many romance books. There's a lot of similar tropes, but basically this is another fake dating story. So it's also a male-male romance. There's this guy who's like really famous, like rock star parents kind of thing, and he needs to clean up his image. So he ends up having this fake kind of publicity relationship with this really like clean cut, like really great guy that's great publicity. It starts out with fake dating. Obviously they will fall in love throughout. It's very similar to Red, White, and Royal Blue in like the aesthetic of the cover, which has been talked about a lot, and even the premise is sort of similar. I doubt it will be as good as Red, White, and Royal Blue, but I hope it's still like a fun, cute book. I have heard some good things about it. So the next book I want to read is The Extraordinaries by TJ Klune. The description sounds like a lot, so I'm just gonna read a little snippet from it, but it says, some people are extraordinary, some are just extra. TJ Klune's YA debut, The Extraordinaries, is a queer coming of age story about a fanboy with ADHD and heroes he loves. So honestly, love it, love the representation, love the combination of like an LGBT story with like superheroes. From what I understand, our main character is ordinary, but then he has a crush on someone who's extraordinary, and then he has a best friend who I think is also ordinary. This seems like I might have to just dive into the world to really understand this. But yeah, it sounds really fun. I know Paige over at the PM Reader, I think, really likes this book and likes like all of TJ Klune's books. And I haven't read any, I don't think, because I haven't read The House in the Cerulean Sea yet. Don't hate me, don't come for me. But very excited to read this one, and it looks like it's going to be a series as well, so that's fun. All right, let's keep moving along. The next book that I want to read is Take Me Home Tonight by Morgan Matson. This is a YA contemporary from our queen Morgan Matson. It seems like it takes place in New York, obviously, and it's about these two girls who are best friends, and they sort of just get into a bunch of shenanigans around New York City. 2 girls, 1 night, 0 phones. Oh, and they're not from New York City, so that should be fun. I'm like a small town girl that moved to the big city, so maybe I will be able to relate to these characters. I don't know. It definitely sounds like something you'd see in like a movie where like everything just keeps going wrong for these girls in New York. Oh my gosh, New York Minute. It must be inspired by that. This literally sounds like New York Minute. Another book I'm so excited to get to is Good Girl, Bad Blood by Holly Jackson. This is a sequel to A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, which was one of my favorite books that I read last year. It's a YA mystery thriller following Pip, who takes it upon herself in her senior year to solve this murder that happened in her town that was technically solved, but she doesn't believe the guy who got blamed for the murder really did it. Now, this is the sequel, and I think it's Pip taking on a new murder. Pip is gonna give up sleuthing. Okay, this sounds fun. I thought it was just gonna be like her going to some random place solving a murder, but it's actually still in her town. Basically, she was gonna give up sleuthing. I guess she's kind of over it after the mystery she solved in the first book. It was kind of traumatic, so I get it. But then someone goes missing that she knows, so then she gets involved when the police are not doing their job. So I'm really excited for this. I heard someone say it was better than the first one. I'm trying to think who, but I definitely have heard good things, so I'm so excited. The next book I'm excited to get to next month is Second First Impressions by Sally Thorne. She's the author of The Hating Game, which I had mixed feelings on, but I just have higher hopes for this book just based on like the reviews I've heard. This is about these 2 people who work at a retiring home, or at least the girl works there, and then the guy, I think, is the son of the owner or something like that, and then he starts working there. He's like, I think, more of like a troubled guy, and she's kind of like the typical like goody girl. I think that's the dynamic. Correct me if I'm wrong. But I think they must have like a bad first impression, and then they just have to work on like having a better first impression. I don't know. And I think it's just very centered around like the stuff going on at the retirement home. I've heard that there's a lot of like fun, cute elements because of that. Honestly, don't really know what else to say. But you know, it's a romance, like mostly basically all of these books. So the last book I want to mention is I want to get to the final book in the Mara Dyer series, which is The Retribution of Mara Dyer by Michelle Hodkin. So I'm actually reading the first book right now. I'm pre-filming this a little bit. I plan on finishing the first book and reading the second book in May. So when it comes time to be June, I want to get to the third and final book. If you guys don't know, this is a YA fantasy or like paranormal series from literally 2011. The first book was published, so it's a throwback, but I found it at like a bargain bookstore, the whole series, so I just wanted to get to it because it's one of those YA series I hadn't gotten to yet. Mara gets in this accident, and then a lot of her memories are like affected by it. She doesn't really remember how she got in this accident, but people that she loved died, so she's really like heartbroken by that. And then a lot of weird things start happening, like she starts hallucinating, just like weird things. She feels like she's going crazy, and I honestly don't want to say much more because, as I said, I'm still in the middle of the first book, and that's essentially what I know. She does meet a mysterious boy named Noah Shaw that's going to be a romance as well, and that's essentially what I know about this series. But I hope I will be enjoying it and then be excited to get to the third one once I finish the first 2. So that is my TBR for June. It's pretty long. I hope I can get to all these, but they're all like romance or contemporary for the most part, and those are like the quickest books to read, and a graphic novel is included, so that should be quick. Let me know if you guys are participating in Romance-A-Thon. I look forward to seeing all of your TBRs for it. Yeah, I'm excited to get through a lot of like popular romances I haven't read yet. So thank you guys so much. I hope you will subscribe for more videos. Be sure to check out my Goodreads account below if you want to be friends, or follow me on Instagram. I really appreciate you guys watching if you made it here to the end, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!